Hello, YouTube friends, and welcome back. Today, let's talk about the abundance mindset. I also want to share with you why my channel is called Enough and More. And lastly, I'd like to discuss 3 specific tactics that we can use in our lives to feel more abundance. The concept of an abundance mindset is not new. It's actually quite popular. But it was first credited to Stephen Covey in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. So to have an abundance mindset means to look at life through the lens of the possibilities, rather than through the lens of limitations. So when you have an abundance mindset, you believe that there is enough for everyone to be successful, and there are many ways for people to be successful. So there are no limits. You think about all the possibilities that are out there and available to us. The opposite of an abundance mindset is a scarcity mindset. So the scarcity mindset tricks us into thinking that everything is a competition because it fundamentally focuses on what is lacking. And the scarcity mindset believes that there aren't enough resources for all of us to be happy at the same time. Right? So it believes life is a zero-sum game, meaning that when one person wins, it takes away from the others. Now, if you ask me, that's a terrible way to look at life, because if you believe there aren't any resources for you out there, there aren't any opportunities, then that makes for a very boring, uninteresting, and kind of sad life. So what I'd like to do is embrace more abundance in my personal life. And I invite you to join me on this journey. So my channel's name is Enough and More because that summarizes to me what it means to live from a place of abundance. So let's break it down. The first key word is enough. One of the main ways to escape the trap of scarcity is to get familiar with the feeling of enough. It's to internalize that I am enough and I have enough. And honestly, if I look at my life today, if I look at my current circumstances, yes, there are many things I'd like to have, but right now I have more than enough for what I need, right? I'm not starving. I'm not in pain. I'm in good health, decent health. But I really have everything I need to lead a comfortable, successful life right now. So I have enough. On the other hand, I'm also enough. And the way I think about this is that I don't believe I have to be a fundamentally different person in order to have a happy life. I believe that as I am, with my flaws and everything that I'm working on, I am good enough to have the kind of life I aspire to. So I practice remembering and reminding myself that I am enough and I have enough. More on that later. But the second keyword in the name of my channel is more. And I think to truly embrace the abundance mindset, I have to believe that there's more for me out there. I'm allowed to pursue more. I can experience more. I can want more for myself. Because if you don't believe that there's more out there, then you're not really thinking in terms of abundance. It makes a lot of sense when you say it like that. But in my personal life, I struggle a lot with the sense of wanting more and having more. For a little bit of a background story on me, I am a first-generation immigrant to the United States. I moved to the U.S. right after I graduated high school a while ago. I don't want to date myself on YouTube, but I moved here from the third world, right? I moved here from a tiny country called Benin. It's in West Africa, beautiful country, but poor. So I grew up in an environment where scarcity was kind of the default. In addition to that, I went to Catholic school. So when you combine third world experience with Catholic guilt and all of that, what I was left with was the feeling that wanting more was somehow a bad thing. I felt like people who wanted more were dissatisfied with what they currently have, they were ungrateful, and they were greedy. There was kind of a understood idea that people who were wealthy probably got to that point by doing something illegal or something unethical, or somehow inappropriate. And we tended to think that people who struggled, people who were suffering, were somehow more virtuous. Maybe they were hardworking, they were honest, and they knew what life was really about. And I want to tell you how sneaky those beliefs are, because even today, I'm left with a dichotomy of sometimes wanting something for myself and knowing that I can work hard and achieve it, but then I immediately feel guilty for feeling like I need even more than what I have. So more is a word that's really important to me because that's something I'm trying to work on and something I'm trying to normalize in my life. So just to summarize, my channel is called Enough and More because to me that represents what abundance truly means. But before I dive into the tactics, if you have watched this video this far, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. So the first tactic to practice in our everyday life is to get familiar with the feeling of enough. Go out of your way to look for evidence of having enough. I think we operate from a place of hunger, desperation. We want these things. We're desperate. We're constantly thinking about where we'd like to be and how we're not there, that we are not familiar or comfortable sitting with the feeling of enough. So go out of your way to find evidence of enough in your life. And when you feel that feeling of enough, let it wash over you, sit with it, let your mind, let your body get comfortable with knowing that you are enough and you have enough. So for example, when I go out with my friends and we have a great meal, and there's usually a moment where I kind of watch the whole scene unfold and I feel really good. I feel like there's nowhere else I'd like to be. Well, that would be a great time for me to pause and realize that what I'm feeling is the sense of having enough. In that moment, I had enough food. In that moment, I feel enough love around me. In that moment, I have my friends there. In that moment, everything is just enough. So just, if that happens to you, linger there for a moment and savor it. Similarly, when you're paying your bills, yes, that's not a fun activity, but every time you pay a bill, you pay off something major, that's an opportunity for you to sit and think about the fact that you had enough money to pay that off. Or if you don't want to talk about bills, let's talk about buying gifts for our friends. If you're able to buy meaningful presents to your friends, then take a minute to pause and reflect on the fact that you have enough. In fact, you have so much that you can take care of yourself and you can afford to give other people meaningful gifts. And the examples go on and on and on. In our daily life, we are confronted with the feeling that we have enough, but we just don't linger there. We just move on. We don't pay much attention to that. But what we want to do is start recognizing when that feeling of enough shows up and allow it to stay with us. I think it's important to practice feeling enough in your life. The second tip is to allow yourself to want more. I think a lot of us have secret desires. So in an effort to allow yourself to want more, I need you to revisit and discover really what it is that you want. So a good way to do that is to pay attention to what you are drawn to. If there is a particular celebrity, or there's a person in real life, or there's someone on the internet that you follow whose life is interesting to you, and you don't know why, but you're drawn to following them on the internet or, in real life or whatever. Hopefully you don't follow people, that's a little creepy. But if there's someone whose life attracts you in a certain way, then ask yourself why. Sometimes we think, oh, this person is awesome. But really what we like about them is how genuine they are in their relationships. Or maybe we love that they travel the world and they're fearless. They just go out and try new things. I think getting very specific on what it is about them that we like can point us in the right direction of what we want. Another way to get clear on what you want is to picture someone else having your life. Not just anyone else, but someone you admire. So if you really love X celebrity, I don't know, let's name them Amanda. If you think Amanda is the coolest and can do no wrong and she's fantastic, ask yourself, what would Amanda do with my life? If Amanda was in my shoes, how would she do things different? I think that might help shed some light on what you truly would like to do, but are not allowing yourself to consider. And the last exercise is a pretty common one. It's thinking about what would happen if time and money were no object. So if time and money were no object, what would you do? If you won the lottery tomorrow, what would you do? I think those kinds of questions force you to think outside of the current limitations that you're experiencing and think bigger about what's possible, about what you really would like to do with your life, but are not allowing yourself to admit out loud. I think it's important to sit with that and to do these exercises often because it gets you out of the routine and it gets you to look at the bigger picture of what your life is and what you would like to do with it. Because there are a lot of things that we want that we kind of shove deep inside, don't admit, never acknowledge, but those things never go away. It's okay to want more. You can appreciate what you have and want more for yourself. One doesn't prevent the other. Having enough and wanting more seem like they're opposites, but they're not. In fact, what happens when you feel like you have enough is that when you want more, you want it from a place of true desire to grow. You want it from a place of drive, from a place of curiosity for what you can do with your life, how far you can go. It comes from a positive intent and it feels good to want more because you're doing it from a strong foundation of having enough. The opposite is when you want something because you feel like right now your life is not great. Then you want things, but from a place of desperation. You're clawing your way out of where you are. It comes from a place that's very negative and feels uncomfortable, and you're trying to escape this discomfort. But if you came at it from a place of having enough, being pretty happy with where you are, then wanting more only adds to that feeling of my life is amazing, everything is as it should be, and wouldn't it be great if I could take it even further? So allow yourself to want more. And my last tactic is to watch out for the limitations you put on yourself. Anytime that you say, oh, wouldn't it be nice if I could do X? Turn that into, how could I do X? It sounds similar, but the feeling and the result you get from asking that question is very different. So for example, don't say, oh, I wish I had the time to go exercise. If you really want to exercise, the right question is, how can I make more time to exercise? Don't say, oh, if I had all this help, wouldn't it be nice if I could write a book? The question is, how could I write a book? Where do I start? How can I make this happen for myself? I think sometimes we dismiss the things we want by saying, oh, that would be nice if I could. Wouldn't it be nice if I could? Kind of tells you that you cannot. But the reality is you can't. You can't. I mean, people are doing it. There is definitely an example out there of someone who was in a situation worse than you and did the thing that you are trying to do. So if you want it, if it's a true desire, then stop telling yourself that you cannot do it. Get out of your own way and figure out how you get more. It may not be instant. It may not be in the same way that someone else did it, but there is a way for you to achieve the things that you desire. We don't all want the same things, right? When I say allow yourself to want more and figure out how to get it done, it doesn't necessarily mean more money. We don't all want more money. Maybe more in your life is, expanding your family. Maybe it's writing a book. Maybe it's leaving your day job to start a business. Maybe it's, starting a podcast. Whatever it is, if it's a true desire, then you hurt yourself by asking the wrong questions. So it's not, oh, wouldn't it be nice if I could? It should be, well, how could I go about doing that? If I wanted to do this, where would I start? Because I think that sometimes we sabotage ourselves by how we phrase things and how we think about them. I think if you phrase it wrong, you're telling your brain, you're telling your mind that this is not a possibility for us. But if you phrase it differently, you make it a challenge for yourself. How could I figure this out? And chances are you can figure it out. Or at the very least, you can try and find out halfway through that that's not really what you wanted. But that's okay. That's okay too. It's all about trial and error. But my main takeaways here are that we need to practice abundance in a way that makes us feel free, that makes us feel like things are possible for us, that makes us happy about where we currently are, and also make us very optimistic about where we're going and what is possible for us. If you have any comments, please leave them below. I'll be sure to read them. If you like this content, please remember to subscribe and give me a thumbs up. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you.